Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jessica Roerson, and I'm here with Jenny Glessman from Sage Hill. We are here on behalf of the IBDS program, Indigenous Business Development Services program, and Sage Hill. And they collaborate every 2 weeks to offer a grassroots type of webinar training for small business owners. Today, we're really excited. We have Josie LaChance here with us. She's going to be talking about, I'm just thinking somebody here in the background. One second.
Then go to my case. Just so you can switch up.
Before we get started, I just want to read off a land acknowledgement. As we gather here today, we acknowledge that we are on Treaty 6 territory and homeland of the Métis. We pay our respects to the First Nations and Métis ancestors of this place. Thanks again for joining, and Jenny's just going to say a little welcome on behalf of Sage Hill Community Futures.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'd just like to welcome you to our session this afternoon about using our iPhones, taking pictures. I myself, besides working at Sage Hill, also am a business owner. So this is a near and dear topic to my heart because I'm always trying to take pictures of what my husband is doing so that we can share it with everybody. If those that don't know anything about the Community Futures, there's 13 offices across the province. And us at Sage Hill have the pleasure of operating the IBDS, Indigenous Business Development Services program. We help small business owners across the province, whether it be with loans, advice, or support. So we're here to help in any way we can. And one of them is the training that we offer. So we're going to turn it over to Josie. She's got some interesting things, I'm sure, to share with us.
All right, thanks, Jenny and Jess. I'm excited to be here today. This session, I'm hoping, can be sort of fun and creative and will inspire you to learn more about taking photos with your iPhone. My name is Josie LaChance, like Jenny and Jess said, and I have been doing content creation for small businesses for quite some time, and all of the content creation I have done for my small business and other businesses have all been with my iPhone. I did purchase a camera and I was determined to learn how to use it. And I realized for what I was doing, my phone can do just as good of a job as that camera. I just needed to learn more about my phone. And it also cuts down time using your iPhone versus the larger camera because you're not taking a whole bunch of photos, having to export them on your computer, sort through them all. You can kind of, it's simpler. So I'm hoping we can have a bit of fun today. I am a small business owner, so I'm doing this from my home today. And we have a little bit of a unique setup. I'll go through a few things. And then I have a second screen set up to kind of show some examples and hopefully walk you through on my phone in real time some of the settings that you can use. So we're gonna try it out, bear with us, but I hope that it'll work out okay. So most of the tips that I'm going through should work for a iPhone 12 Pro or higher. The higher phone you have, if you have the current phone, the current iPhone 15, all of these things that I'm going through today, you'll have all of these features. If you have the 14 or the 13 or the 12, it'll just kind of be like a less feature probably for each number down. So just keep that in mind. If you're seeing something on my phone, I do have the newest one. And so you'll see all of the features. So I just didn't want you to think that your phone was missing the features. They just might not be there because it's an older version. So keep that in mind. The purpose of my session is to show you that you can use your iPhone to create your own content. I was going to say something else after that, but then it left my mind. So it can be simple and you can just use what you have around the house. I Personally, if you are someone who is taking photos of products, it's nice to have sort of like a basket of props you can use. I always just use what's available to me, and sometimes that's fresh greenery if I have some of that in my yard, or if I can snag that from somewhere. It always helps to sort of brighten up a photo. But I will just pop over. Jess, I'm going to share my laptop screen. We should be able to do that. Yeah, it's all good. And there we go. So taking photos with your iPhone. If you guys want to follow along with me, if you're able to, please do so. If you're using your laptop and you want to just pop open your phone and go through your camera settings as we're going, you're more than welcome to do that. And then if you have any questions as we're going through, please just let me know. So a lot of people don't realize that you can kind of set up your phone to work for you to help you out, or your camera, sorry. So if you go into your settings, the gray little gearbox, and you scroll down and you find camera, this is sort of what you'll, and you click on that, this is what you'll see. So you'll see sort of all of these different options, and I don't want to overwhelm you, so just bear with me here because these will help. So here you'll see how all of my settings are set. And what I really recommend is the ones at the bottom here where it says composition, enabling your grid and your level. These ones will help you frame your photo and make sure it's kind of a little bit straighter or in the grid of what you need it to be. It will help you in the long run, and you'll see that when I go and use my phone later for the examples. It really just helps to frame up your photo for you. The next, if you keep going down, I don't know if you have all of these ones, but I suggest turning all of these 4 on. So there's portraits in photo mode if you have portrait mode, faster shooting, lens correction, and macro control. So all of these things will help you to take better photos and ensure that your camera is set up and ready for you. So when you go and open up your camera app and taking a photo, a lot of the work is already being done for you. I just want to give everybody some time to just look at that over, and if they've been able to look at their phone.
I have a question.
Yeah, please do.
Okay, so I just went into, so on mine, it says formats, and then it leads me to like another little arrow.
Yeah.
Are you going to talk about that, or can I ask you?
You can ask me, but I'm going to, oops.
On the flip side, it says,
yes. Yeah, format. So is that where it asks you if you want to do raw images?
yeah.
And which one does it have selected on your phone right now?
Okay, so it says high efficiency or most compatible. And then down below it says Pro RAW and resolution control or Apple ProRes. I don't have, that's for video. I don't have either one of those checked off.
Okay, let me just pull up mine because mine will be slightly different, but you don't need to put on raw. So raw will have higher standard of photo, and you would want them to be in raw mode if you're someone who exports them and puts them into a different program. So if you use like Adobe Lightroom or another editing program, raw would be really helpful for you. Formats, if it's checked off most compatible, and that's really all you need. And Apple ProRes, if you check that off, do you have those? Were they automatically checked?
No, I just checked them now.
Oh, they weren't. Oh, okay. Yeah, normally they should just be like most compatible is so that it saves it in a JPEG. And so if you ever wonder sometimes when you get a photo from someone and it's saved as the .heif instead of the .jpeg, It's because they have high efficiency on, and maybe they don't even know, but
Oh.
I don't personally think it's necessary,
Yeah.
because it does make it difficult to work with those images. So if you're someone, often it was my grandma one time sent me photos and she didn't even know she had that enabled. And so just switching it to most compatible.
Perfect.
Jenny,
Done.
did you
Thank
have
you.
a question? Oh, okay. So moving over into preserve settings, you'll see that right under formats. If you click that one, you'll see a whole list of options. Again, a little bit overwhelming, and I'm not trying to overwhelm you, I promise. It's just really helpful to set up your camera so that it works for you and it'll make it easier when you are taking photos on your phone. These are the ones I suggest having on, and I can kind of go through them and you can decide if you want them on. But camera mode, I don't have that on, but simply it means if you left off taking a panoramic photo and you open your camera app again, it will stay on panoramic photo. If you leave off on video, it will come back to video. So I don't think that's really important for my purposes. But creative control is nice. So I have that one checked off. Depth control, I think that you can already do so much depth control with your editing that it's not necessary to have it on, but you can play around and enable it and see what it does for your photos. I have macro control on and exposure adjustment, which I'll talk a little bit about exposure later, but I think that's an important one to have on. Portrait zoom, again, Apple ProRes and Live Photo. Those are my ones that I really like to have checked off. And it doesn't mean that you have to, sorry, I'm just putting my other phone back. It doesn't mean that you have to have those checked off, but that's how I have my phone set up so that it helps me to take the photos that I want. I'm going to hit next unless anybody has any questions. Again, I know it's overwhelming to start like this, but it's just so nice when you can kind of see the settings that you can change on your camera and not keep them at the default. So I'm just going to jump in here. And I have some photo examples of sort of some simple techniques that you can use. And what I've done is I've just taken a few photos and then edit them on my phone. So everything that again, these are all iPhone photos. These are simple photos that I've just taken. And I'm just going to hop over to it. So this one today, actually, I took this one because I ran across the street. My neighbor's cherry tree was blossoming. And so I took this one with my phone, just regular, nothing. This is just the photo. I then edit it to do a couple different things. And I'll explain what I did, which wasn't too much, but I always like to take the photos larger. So when you go to take a photo, instead of just cropping it and only taking what you need from the photo, it's better if you take like a wider perspective shot of the photo and then crop it after on your phone. Because then you can kind of see exactly what you need. And if you're someone who does a lot of posting on Instagram, you'll know that they're very specific with their sizing. And so being able to crop it after to fit Instagram the way I'd like it to, that's a big help for me, just taking the larger photo instead of just like the regular square photo. So in this photo here on the right, I have adjusted some of the settings. And again, I'm going to go through some examples on my phone and just sort of walk you through some of the things that you can play with for sort of more of a bold photo, but I'm trying to keep it simple here also. I want people to be able to take a photo, do some slight little tweaks that don't take them any time or don't add any stress to your day, and you can still post a beautiful photo. I think a lot of us here are entrepreneurs, and these are sort of sometimes the last things that we are worried about. And so it's nice to just be able to do what you can from your phone and not use any third-party apps if you can get away with it. The next one here, this is just an example of taking a product photo. And so this is just the basic photo, not edited. This is just the photo from my phone. And then you can see, you know, that it's not perfect. There's things that need to be adjusted. So that's why I like to take the wider frame. And then you'll see here, this is the edited photo. And so that's all just simple tweaks on my iPhone app to be able to create this like ready to go image for Instagram, Facebook, maybe your website, or an e-newsletter. This worked great. Again, here it could be showcasing the book, it could be showcasing the pottery, whatever it works. And so, or whatever you need it to do. I have sort of created a little space in my home that I can use for things like this. So when I do have to take photos for products or something business related, I sort of have a little basket of tools with some linens. I've got this little wooden plate that I like to use because I always find it warms up the image. And I have a couple of Saskatchewan, the bottom one isn't, but the middle one is sort of Saskatchewan base and it's bold. And so I have a little basket of tools that I like to use for product placement. Any questions so far? I feel like I'm talking really fast, but I really want to be able to show some examples on my phone.
No, it's great, Josie. Yeah, it's perfect.
All right. So yeah, so this one, I cropped it. Again, you can see the comparison of the two images. I cropped it, took out what I didn't need, and adjusted some of the features. I really like to use the black point, which again, I'll go through in our example, but taking the black point up always helps to sort of sharpen the image. So here's another one where, again, if you're doing like a product photo, making it a little bit more creative. I just grabbed a little branch of my apple tree and I had a linen cloth and I just put underneath to sort of make it a little bit more creative. This is again the image just as is, and then here is the edited image. And this one, you can see there's not too much difference. The only thing is that I've cropped it to sort of zoom in on the image, and I have warmed it up a little bit. So again, these are very simple things that I'm doing that are not taking very much time. I think the time is mostly like gathering the materials and sort of thinking out your images. But once you have your camera set up to work for you, it is a big help. Again, like I said, I like to take the wider image from further back so that I can focus in on what I need after. And I have another one. So this is an example here. I don't know if you see this a lot, but you'll see where lots of people they have their phones. So this is how you normally hold it, and you're taking the picture, and you'll see that people turn it upside down. And I always get asked this, why are you taking, like, why is your phone upside down? Why are you taking the photo upside down? Well, this is the photo regular, and I'm going to show you a photo where I flipped the camera upside down now, and I haven't moved. All I've done, I swear, I didn't move, and I just flipped my phone, and this is the image that came. So it's crazy because what you're doing is, my phone is on my tripod, but you're holding your phone like this, and your camera is up here. So your camera is actually going like this, going down to take the image. If you flip it like this, then the camera is almost dead on to, I see everybody's faces going, yes, okay, it made sense. But then your camera is at the bottom. And so then the bottom, it's almost a straight shot. And instead of going down and kneeling down, you just have to turn your phone. It's the simplest thing. Our phones are so smart and they can make it, they've made it now so that it is, they can, they know that you've turned it upside down. So definitely try that feature out. If you are with anything really, even taking pictures of people, it just shifts the perspective. You don't have like, I feel like everybody's kind of trying to go like this and point it down, or you're way down here and trying to point it up. If you just simply turn your photo, give that one a try. I think that makes a really big difference. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to flip over to my phone now, and we will see here if we can. Whoops. I'm going to stop sharing. Okay. Okay, Jess, can you hear me now?
So your camera is on the screen, Josie.
My camera is on the screen.
Your camera
Oh,
view. Like, yeah,
like
it's
it's all
perfect.
good. Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
all good.
Okay, so like I said, I'm in my home, so you might see like the corner of my fridge or my hallway. So this is, you can see on the screen, you can see all the grids. So what I did when I showed you all of those settings was I made it so those grids came up. So that kind of helps you proportion your photo a little bit more. And sometimes, you know, like some people like to use the rule of thirds. If you try to keep your image in 1/3. Oops, sorry. What happened now? Are we still good, Jess?
Yeah, you know what though? Like my face is on your phone that you're sharing, and I don't know how to move me over.
If I do it like this, is that a little bit better?
There, yeah. Yeah,
Okay, you might just be,
there.
you'll
Oh,
just be in it.
Okay.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna stop my video. Then it will just be Sage Hill's logo.
Okay, perfect. Thanks everybody for bearing with us. Okay, so you'll see here I have the grid lines enabled, and you'll also see that my photo now shows beneath the sort of legend or the bar at the top and the bar underneath. That's another feature that we just adjusted when we went into our camera settings. So it might have been black on your phone before, but now it's sort of transparent. So you can see what's beyond the image. So if you're wanting something beyond the image, you can kind of pull back. I personally like that feature. Here's like some of my tools that I'm just showcasing on my screen. But at the top, you'll see there's this little button. We're going to start on the top left, which I'm sure most people know. We've got the flash there with the lightning. We've got this button here. I can't actually remember. Night mode. That's that one. And this one here is the contrast or the exposure, sorry. And I personally like to take my exposure down. I'll show you here. If you set your exposure at the regular, you can see it's not too much of a difference, but it is so much easier on your photo if you underexpose them. So even if you go negative 0.3 exposure, this will help make sure that that's kind of cutting out that extra brightness that's not there. And when you underexpose your image, it will go so much further. It will help you in your editing process. It will actually take away some of the editing work that you need to do, just because you're not having to filter out these extra light streams or this extra exposure. If you expose your images, it is almost near impossible to get that exposure down after. So this is a big photo tip. Most photographers will shoot underexposed and then edit the exposure after. Again, there's this moving on. So I have mine set at negative 0.3, and this is set for me now. So I don't have to adjust this every time I come and use my camera. That's just set and it's saved there for me. There's this little yellow drop down arrow in the middle, and you can see again, it gives you all of these options down here. If you're someone who likes to shoot in a certain size, you can adjust that down here. You've got your exposure button, which is the plus and minus. You've got your timer. And then you can also shoot your photo with the filters on if there's a filter that you like that's on here. So they do give you some, and sometimes it is nice to shoot. If you're someone who likes just easy consistency, you can just pick one of these photos and sort of or these filters, sorry, and stick with that for your content. I'm going to take that one off. The nice thing about the timer one here, I'll say right now, I have my phone on a tripod. And if you're someone who kind of deals with like a little bit of shakiness and maybe you can't get the perfect still photo, or you find that it's always a little bit blurry, you can invest in a tiny little tripod or prop your phone up against something and then hit the timer button, even for 3 seconds if you just need a still image. And then you can get a non-shaky image that way and just have it take it for you. I find that can be helpful. Moving along here. So that's in that little drop down menu there. So definitely, again, a reason to play around with your phone. We've got more sort of, I don't know if you saw what I did. I don't know if this is a new feature. So you guys might not all have this one with the 3 little blocks in a row. Again, this is more options for lighting for your photo. Okay, so now that we've got that, I do have my RAW enabled. So if I need to take a really high resolution photo that needs to be edited maybe out elsewhere and used elsewhere, I do have it so I can have the ability to take a RAW photo. And I'm going to just take that timer off. And this little button in the right corner, that's live mode. And so you can do live photo, which can help with long exposures if you're into that type of thing. But that's kind of getting more into depth. But live mode is great to have on, especially if you're someone who likes to make reels or things like that on Instagram. Then you can kind of use your live photos as well. So I'm just going to show you here. Now on this, it's gonna zoom over here a little bit. Okay, so you'll see there's this little F on my bottom left corner there. And if I tap this, this sort of just helps me. This is showing that it's my focal point. you have this little you have this little slider here with the sun, and this is also for exposure. So you can slide this up and you can see it's getting really, really bright and really overexposed. Or you can pull it all the way down and then you'll see it gets a little bit underexposed. And a lot of people I know use their phone with the exposure almost all the way down because it's very easy to edit this after. So I'm just going to take this photo just to show you. And then we're going to open it up here. And now you can see we've got our editing options. And so I'm just going to go straight over to, oops, sorry. Adjust, there we go. And you can see here, you can kind of play with your, again, another place to play with exposure. But usually I kind of go in here, I'll maybe add a couple highlights, and this is something you can play around with. If there's shadows, you can kind of remove them, or that was enhancing them a little bit, not removing. And then going over, adding a bit of brightness, and you can sort of, this is the black point where you can adjust. I'm going to just swing back over here to exposure because I do feel like I need it to be a little bit more moody. There's so many options, as you can see, as you're going through. But depending on what your style is, everybody has a different editing style. So depending on what your style is, you can kind of adjust these. Again, you can keep going and going. So I'm actually going to just be done here with this, and I'm going to go back and bear with me here. So if you're someone who, if you're taking a product photo, I have these cards laid out, and maybe you do, you need to take photos of your cards. Again, what I always do is I try to do it a bit more than needed. And now I'm going to go in here and I'm going to crop. Go. And because I want to crop this for Instagram, you'll see at the top it gives you quite a few options again on that bar. I'm going to go to this one that has sort of like the multiple squares in one, and I'm going to do a square. And so this kind of helps me creating my image for Instagram for my product. Now that I've kind of got that where I want it, I'm going to hit done. And I'm going to adjust again here. Some of the things I like to do is my exposure and the black point. And if you like to sort of warm them up a little bit. Again, depending on what your product is, you might not want to edit it too much, but take away any shadows I have. And so there, I feel like this would be ready for me to post on Instagram showcasing my products. And all I did was just, I have this area set up at home where I can just be ready to take photos of any product with my little basket of trinkets that I've just kind of come across. I always find a wood background, like a light background or a dark background. If you like the black, sometimes can look nice depending on your products. But a wood background or a white background works nice. I did a flat lay class with a lady who purchased just a white bristle board, and she used that for all of her flat lays, and you would have never known. It looks like the most perfect white wall and white floor, but she just put her items on the bristle board. It was nice and smooth, nice and white, and then she put another one up beside it, and you wouldn't have even known. So that was really really eye-opening, because you can just make it very simple, especially if you're doing product flat lays. Yeah, I'm just going to pause for a minute and see if there's any questions, because I can't see the screen.
There's nothing in the chat, but if anybody has anything, feel free to unmute and fire away, or put
Yeah,
your
please
questions in the chat.
I can always keep doing more examples, so that's not a problem. I just wanted to give anybody a chance to sort of chime up if they have a question or something they want me to sort of do or walk through.
So I've got a question.
Sure.
Our photos are mostly, we sell lake properties, so our photos are mostly done outside of the properties.
Mhm.
So would you still reduce your exposure on those, or because we're trying to capture that it's a nice, sunny, happy place to be, would you not mess with that?
I personally, I would underexpose them, because it's so much easier to go in like afterwards on the photo and sort of tap up the brightness and bring up this exposure again. Because sometimes, I don't know if this has happened to you, but when you take a picture on a really bright blue, like bluebird day, it's sunny, the sun, like there's not a cloud, there's no shade, it sometimes can be hard because there's all these streams of light coming in, and it can be hard to edit that down. And so sometimes it's easier to just bring the exposure down. But I'm just going to go back here. When you click on your screen, I'm not sure if you've tried this, but if you drag this down, this will also help. So you don't have to necessarily do up here in this top bar where I have this exposure set. But if you just do the sun, you've tapped your sort of your focal point, and then you just drag the sun down, that will take some of that really harsh lighting out. That makes sense. I would give it a go and see what works best for you. Obviously, you know, it's hard because you're doing it on different days, and the weather is always different. But I would try to just, I would play around with that. Do you find that it's hard to edit your photos after you take them, or do they usually turn out okay?
Well, it definitely depends on the day and what the weather is like, and if there's clouds, if there's sunshine, if there's wind blowing us around as well. So yeah, we'll just play with it and see.
Yeah, I would really give it a try. I find personally for outside, if you underexpose your images and then go back in and edit them later, you can take a couple tries at it where you just take a regular one and then maybe underexpose the next one and just see if there's a difference for you editing wise.
That's probably why photographers really like cloudy days for photo shoots outside.
They do, because you always think it would be nice to do it on a sunny day, but there's so many factors, and especially if you're doing people, it's also really hard if it's really sunny, because then you're dealing with lots of glare issues and squinty eyes. But the overcast days are always the best days.
There was another question. It was all around any tips for outside photos.
So was like, well, we could go outside and try, but I don't want to do that. Trench through my yard. But I think the biggest thing is just to try fiddling around. I think some of these camera settings will definitely help you. Really, like the exposure will really make a big difference. And once you go in and you take your photo, and playing around with it. And even today, like if you have spare time after this, to just go and take a couple outside photos and then just see what sort of works for you. I have found that I'm going to just take a photo here. Where are we going? The adjust feature there that's in that bottom line. I've found that all of these have really helped. You can play around with them a little bit and you can kind of get to see what they do. Like really slide. I always suggest really sliding from right from the bottom all the way to the top, just to see what each one does. So you have a feeling for it. You can see here it taking away all the shadows and bringing all the shadows back. It's just nice to get a feel for it. That's how we learn how to use it. So definitely take some photos and play around with these features. Again, there are certain things you can do. You can find and purchase presets. They're not usually expensive. So if that's something that's really important to you for all your photos to sort of have a similar look and you're not sure how to do that yourself, you can buy presets and apply them to every photo. There's so many out there. Everybody makes them, and there's ones for outside pictures, there's ones for food if you want them to just be light and bright, or have certain color tones or things to them.
Where do you buy those from, Josie?
So you can find them, I mean, a lot of them I see just through like Instagram, through influencers. They're always creating their own templates or their own presets. And all you do is sort of buy them and it comes with the instructions. But if you use Adobe Lightroom on your mobile, which I believe is free on your mobile, you just save the photo and then you just copy all of the settings and then apply it to your photo. It would still need a little bit of tweaking because obviously you're not taking the exact same photo as that person and there are some variables, but on your website or on their websites and stuff, on Adobe Lightroom itself, and I'm using this as an example because I use Adobe Lightroom, you can go in and look at the presets that are available. And of course, like Googling, presets, there will be some that come up. There's some people that also have their own free editing apps that you can explore. But I really think that the iPhone gives you so many editing tools right within its own camera feature that you really don't have to look elsewhere, especially if you're taking a lot of photos and creating a lot of content and you don't have a lot of time. It's really nice to just be able to, learn how to utilize these features. Does that make sense, Jess? I think it's like a lot of people just make them and sort of have them available through those apps.
No, I think that's great. Just there's one question that said, did I miss hearing what a preset is? And maybe just
I can just
Sure.
So a preset is just a photo where someone has basically edited it to look the way that I guess that they've intended. So maybe it's like a perfect, the one that I'm thinking of here is the preset that I have is it's a photo. And so this person has taken a photo of a stack of pancakes and they're pouring syrup on top. So this preset is intended for food images, and you save that photo into Adobe Lightroom. And then sort of in the top right corner, you would just hit copy settings because all of the adjustments like that they've made to the photo with the brightness, the exposure, the colors, the vibrance, the highlights, the black points, the white points, all the different sort of tones that you can adjust. Those are in the settings of that photo. And so you basically just copy them and apply them to your photo that you have. Yeah, I do have some examples of those, but I don't have them pulled up. I'm just seeing if I could actually pull them up on my computer, so I could show you, but it is something that lots of people use because it makes it a bit easier to have consistent photos, and especially if you are someone that's taking, a lot of a certain type of photo. I hope that kind of helped clarify. It was a little bit tricky for me to understand too, but basically it's a photo that has the settings saved on it, and then you just copy and paste them onto your photo every time you have that.
That's
Here,
great.
I can
No, I
actually yeah, I was going to just show here. I'm going to stop this. Okay, can you hear me? All the
Yes, we
background.
can.
Okay,
Yeah.
so if I share my screen,
You might want to turn off the audio on one. Maybe your phone.
yeah, there we go. Is that better?
Yeah. No, I can't hear you.
Okay, so can you see the screen?
Yeah. Pancakes.
Jess, can you see the screen?
Yes.
Yeah, we sure can.
But now I can't hear you.
Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. Okay, technology is lots of fun. So this is Adobe Lightroom here, if you can see it on my screen. I've just popped it open here. So I have this one, which is called JH Food Love. And you can see here, this is the picture. It's like really bright, really vibrant. And so when I'm using this preset, I just, in Adobe Lightroom, it says copy edit settings down here. And I click that and they're saved onto my clipboard. And then I went and applied it to a photo that I took. So you can see it really does its job because I'm using the same colors. I've got red and white and it really pops. And it saved me a lot of time. I didn't have to do a lot of editing because I had this preset and my sort of theme matched their theme of the preset. So you definitely want to find presets if you are going to go that route that match your style so that it complements you and your photos and doesn't make it harder for you in the long run. But yeah, I definitely recommend Adobe Lightroom for editing if you are someone who needs to use an editing program, but again, not necessary. Yeah.
I think that's so fun. I wondered how people got the same look with their photos.
Yeah, so they use
time.
presets and it's very smart. And lots of people have them. I think, I mean, I'm going off of Instagram here, but all of the Instagram influencers that I follow, they all create their own presets and then sell them. Smart business plan, of course. But yeah, it really helps to achieve like the consistency if that's what you're going for, if that's what you need it for. So I hope that this sort of provided some tips and takeaways from for you to implement. I think where was I here? Just taking the time to set up your phone properly so that it works for you and getting to know it so that you can just use it to its full advantage and not be creating more work for yourself. taking a wider photo than what you really need and cropping afterwards is always really helpful. Consider turning your phone upside down. I hope everyone goes and tries that trick and sees the advantage that it can have. The one thing that I didn't touch on was the panoramic mode. When you you take your phone and you're going like this and getting a wide landscape, you can also turn your phone this way, and you can do a panoramic this way, vertical. And so if you have like a tall tree or a tall building or someone standing there and you're wanting to get like their whole outfit, you can do it this way as well. And when you do go into panoramic mode, you can tap it automatically defaults with the arrow going to the right, but you can actually tap the arrow if you want to go the other way. So that's something that's a cool little tip too. So you don't have to then sort of move your camera and kind of go all the way over here. You can just tap the arrow on your screen and switch the way that you want to do the pano. And yeah, consider using a tripod so your photos aren't taking that little bit of blurriness out, and using that yellow exposure slider and looking into presets if that's something that works for you. Those are my big takeaways.
That's awesome. Does anyone have any other questions for Josie? We still have a couple of minutes.
I do.
Fire
Okay.
away.
Okay, so when you're taking your photo, you said take it bigger. Does that mean you want to turn it so that it's a horizontal?
So if you are taking photos, absolutely, you can take them this way and then crop them when you need them. It just depends, right, what you're using them for, because if you take them this way, they're not really usable in an Instagram story or
Right.
reel because it's just going to be this small little strip across your screen. So if you're specifically taking it for posting on Instagram, I would take it this way, vertical.
Can you get a preset so it's perfect size?
For Instagram?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can use the crop feature, and if you're saying like when you upload to your stories, is that
I
what?
don't know. I just wondered if you could just hit a button and then it's like you don't have to reformat it size-wise.
Oh, I see. No, I think that I mean, unless you use another third-party app,
Okay.
but I think just, again, if you take the wider photo, you have more to play with.
Mm-hmm.
You asked something else. Did you ask something else in that question?
No, that's great, but I think
Oh.
Megan has a question.
Oh, yeah, go
How do you
ahead.
know, Jess?
I love it.
Okay, I'm just downloading the Adobe, and so I just wanted to repeat back the preset. So if I want to do a
Okay.
preset, I would take the photo, I would drop it in Adobe, and that's where the preset lives?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
And then
Good.
because then you just copy the settings and then paste it onto each photo. So you have to do that work of like copying the settings and then pasting it onto your photo and then potentially tweaking it a little bit if it's still not exactly where you want it to be.
Okay.
But that one that I have there is from Jillian Harris, and she has a lot of presets. And so I always like some of her stuff. Some people have them like too edited, that they don't necessarily work for me, but it just depends on your style. But yeah, give it a try. Lightroom, I think it's free on your mobile, but I'm not sure if it's free on your computer.
Yeah,
Or was it free on your mobile?
Yes, it looks like
Okay.
it's just loading.
Yeah, so
So
that's
those-
like one that I recommend if you are going to get a third party, but
Okay, thank you.
So
Yeah.
you're saying that I could maybe get like Joanna Gaines from Magnolia, her preset, so that my life looks like that?
absolutely, you can totally do that. If she has a preset available, you go right ahead and you can make every photo look like that.
Wow. Megan, this
Yeah,
is
I
going to
know.
be great for your pumpkins.
I know this is amazing. I need to go photograph some clothing right now, so this is perfect.
Oh, awesome. Well, you can test out some of the things, but yeah, that's so awesome. Well, how do you find out if someone has a preset available? I don't have the perfect answer for this. I find them just through people that I follow on Instagram, because I'm like, hey, why are their photos so beautiful and so nice? And then, oh, like you can buy their presets. And they usually have like a link in bio, and you can go to their website and you can purchase their presets. Some of them might be like $1 or $2, some of them might be $10. So it just depends what you're willing to spend. But I'm fairly confident if you go into Google, you could just search presets. I'm just popping into my Lightroom here quickly to. Yeah, you can definitely search in Lightroom, and there are some free presets that you can use. So you could always go that route as well. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That is
Is there
awesome.
any other questions?
I can't wait to go out and try taking a picture with my phone upside down.
Please do, and go ask your husband to stand there and put your phone like this, and I love it. I think that's great.
Well, I do so much stuff like with plants and with the lumberyard stuff, and I'm
Mhm.
setting up little places, but now I've never thought, yeah, and I'm almost kneeling, crouching on the floor trying to take a picture. So this is going to
Yeah,
help greatly.
and set up a place that's good, that you don't have to kneel down, because then that just creates
Yeah.
more work. But if you can create something higher up, but yeah, turn your phone and it'll change your world.
Well, thank
Jenny,
you, Josie.
this is so fun. Sorry, I'm gonna interrupt Jenny.
Yeah.
So Jenny and her husband own Bruno Lumber, and it's like a really cool old structure. And so Jenny, you should do the panoramic going up to show
Oh yeah.
the expansiveness of the place.
Oh, so many things
That's
you can
cool.
try out, Jenny. Yeah.
I
All
will.
right.
I will. This has been awesome. Unless anybody has any other questions today, thank you, Josie. This has been wonderful. I love the hands-on stuff. I hope everybody else did too. Have a wonderful day. Josie's back next week. I'm losing track
June
of what
4th.
day.
Yeah, June 4th,
Oh
and
yeah.
she's going to be talking everything about social media. So we're just going to kind of do a very light
Kind of
touch
seeing
of
what's out there.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to decide what fits your business and your business type. So
Yeah.
have a great week, and we'll be back next week with Josie. Have a
Sounds great.
wonderful day,
And
everybody.
there's
Thanks so
a
much.
survey that's going to pop up when you close, and we sure would appreciate your feedback.
That'd be great.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Hey, everyone. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.